Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to Coach Cruise. I'm your host, Brad. For anybody that's new out there, I see we got a lot of familiar faces in the comments already. Today's show, for people that will be joining in or watching this on replay, we're going to address the fighting, and many of you have probably already seen the viral video of the fight that Carnival had break out in the baggage claim at the end of the cruise. And good news for everybody that was on that particular cruise. At least it happened after the cruise was over, and not in front of, well, I guess if you were in the baggage claim at the time, it could have been in front of children and all that. But it's just a very ugly scene. I mean, I don't care what cruise ship you're on, whether it be Carnival, whether it be Royal, whether it be MSC, fights in general on a cruise ship. It's just really bad. It's just really ugly. And probably 99.5% of them are avoidable. I mean, I know there's some extreme situations, and the people that get in the fight probably say, oh no, it was absolutely unavoidable. What was I supposed to do? Blah, blah, blah. But, it's a bad thing. It's a bad thing. Now, there was something else that happened prior to that fight that Carnival did. Zoe's over here working for these treats. Well, she's not really working. She's just getting them right now. But that Carnival did that I kind of was like, kind of like, okay, Carnival, you're reaching for more money again. I mean, you're not making enough apparently. And I've heard a lot of people, friends of mine that have applauded what it is that Carnival did here. And I'm going to get into that in just a little bit here. But I want to say hi to everybody first and get going that way, as I always do. Eventually, I'll get to a point here where we might not be able to say hi to everybody. But so far, we have just a large enough group that, we can say hi to everybody. All right. So first off, I want to give a shout out to all the members. For those of you that don't know, if you haven't been here in a couple weeks, we started a membership. And on this membership, the thing I've done most recently is I've shared a lot of members only videos, just individual personal things, that I'm doing. Not all related. In fact, most aren't related to cruising. I did share some original cruise content that is available to nobody but members. It was some behind the scenes talk with the cruise director that I will not publish. It's only for a select few, so I mean, I will be sharing videos like that. I figure if you're in that group of members only, you're worthy of getting that extra behind the scenes stuff that I don't feel 100% comfortable releasing out into the general public for everybody to scrutinize. But for the diehards, for the most faithful, absolutely. So our members right now just started about a week ago, just over a week ago. We got Danny D, the spectacular supporter, Trisha and Bert Nichols, Chris Moss, Adventures with Uncle Dave, Yoli and Andrew, Carnival Cruise Addicts, Liz and Chris. We got Eric from North Shore Travelers. We got Rick, the Texas Cruiser, Greg and Michelle from Cruise Life TV, Edmund, Tim, Mandy is here. Had a nice conversation with her via Messenger yesterday, and one Christy Curry. So I wanted to thank each and every one of you. They are all at the Alchemy Bar with me. That is the name of the one and only level currently in the membership. But yeah, thank you to each and every one of you that have already joined. And it's only $4.99 a month. So, and you're going to get, there's some other perks that go with it. But if you stay a member for a year, you're going to get a gift at the end of the 1 year anniversary that'll be specific to members. I want to make it, special, not something that everybody can get. And that's the intent with some of the videos that I do, and also with the gifts. But let me say hi to everybody. Justin wins gold again. Like I say, he's got more golds than Michael Phelps. Trish and Bert Nichols are on the podium with the silver, and then Tim gets another medal. He gets the bronze. Michelle B is back once again, and she is first on the list for Super Chat. She's numbers 1 through 5 for our super chats that I'll talk about in just a second. We got Admin Tim, Will G, as always. Rick, the Texas Cruiser, is saying hello to everybody. Great to see all of you. Adventures with Uncle Dave is here. As I mentioned, Ken Pascal is here. Angie is here. Had a nice chat with her via Messenger just the other day as well. Ken Lesko is here. Good to see you, Ken. Mentioned Michelle. There's Eric from North Shore Travelers. Good to see you, Eric. Yoli is here. There's Aaron. Aaron is back after a week off last week. We got the Carnival Cruise Addicts, Liz and Chris. What is going on? Bone Tired Travelers. Good to see you back. Lisa is here. Says, hey, Coach. Hey, Lisa. Did I miss anybody? Bone Tired, I got you. Let's see if there's anybody that's in the comments I haven't said already. Mimi Melly is here saying hello to everybody, and hello, Mimi Melly. And there's Mike Anthony, fresh off of his birthday cruise. And by all reports, he had an amazing time. We have Hot Tea here, and that's admin Mike too, by the way, on Facebook. Tony is back. Good to see you, Tony. Adele Sargent. Hey, Coach and everyone. I hope it was a good Tuesday for everyone. Well, thank you, Adele. Appreciate that. And I share those sentiments with everybody. All right. Wow. There's so many of you in the comments saying hi and what's up and all this other stuff. This is great. Sean is here. Good to see you, Sean. Armasi7777 saying, hey, Coach, what's up, Armasi? Good to see you. And I think we're caught up. Beautiful. All right. So Bellows Creek Cruiser is back. Good to see you, Bellows Creek. Look, I wanted to share something with you. So getting into the super chats, I got Zoe down here. She's laying under her chair because she's weird. She does that. But I have her treats. If anybody does a $10 super chat, Zoe gets a treat. And I brought her 2 treats. She got a dream stick or her little thing that she likes here, along with some side treats to keep her busy. But if anybody does a $15 super chat, it's dealer's choice today. I have not opened this, but I bought a small batch, 4 Roses bourbon. And then this one I had a few weeks back. This is an old fashioned. Rick, this is the bottle that I was telling you about that is really good. I don't know if you found it. It's not at Costco anymore. So I'm going to have to, I think there's Benny's or one of your larger, liquor store vendors, whoever that is in your area. But it's an barreled old fashioned. And I don't know if you can see right there, but it's Buffalo Trace. It's made with Buffalo Trace, which was a great bourbon. Good stuff here. So I have a cup with some ice. So you choose. You can have me either do a shot of the 4 Roses or a shot. And this is 84 proof, so I'm not getting off any easier. This is 90 proof, actually. So a little harsher on the shot, but not too much. And next week, for in honor of Mother's Day, check this out. So I'm at Benny's this past weekend. That's our big liquor store around here. And I come across, I'm looking at all the different bourbons, and I see the name of this bourbon, this bottle right here, and I'm like, oh my God. And look at that. Now, that is not just my last name. That is my mother, first name, Mary Dowling. So her full name was Mary Beth Dowling. She went by Beth, but Mary was her first name. And I found this bottle of bourbon. And it wasn't cheap either. It was like a $60 bottle of bourbon. So I'm going to be opening this next Tuesday. And I will be doing shots of Mary Dowling in honor of leading up to Mother's Day next weekend. So I just thought that was really cool. But I found this bottle. And it's got my mom's name on it. My mom, who rest in peace, has her own bourbon. Thought that was super cool. So I got that going. All right. Speaking of, cheers to everybody. And I agree with Uncle Dave. He says, well, let's get it started. And Uncle Dave, let me know if you'd prefer a shot or old fashioned. I will do either one. And then we got the Texas Cruiser right behind you. I'm going to write your names down right now. Uncle Dave, you are 6 through 20. Michelle B was 1 through 5. And we got Rick, the Texas Cruiser, is going to be 21 through 30 right after that. And let me see. The bottle has bad decisions written all over it. Yeah. Yeah, Cruise Life TV, the Mother's Day lead up, right? So, Adventures with Uncle Dave. Which am I doing here? Am I doing the shot or the old fashioned? Your choice, your call. My choice. Okay, you know what? I'm going to go with the old fashioned just because I have this cup of ice and I don't want to. I brought a cup of ice for nothing. So let me get this open here, and then we will get our show rolling. Zoe, come here. You want a treat? So, come here. You got 2 treats coming. So I'm going to give her one of each. All right. High five for Uncle Dave. High five. What do you say? What do you say? She says a big hearty thank you. All right. And again, I really, really like this. I highly recommend it. I'm not endorsed. I've thought about contacting some of these bourbon companies and saying, hey, I'm drinking your stuff, and when I like it, I share it on air. And maybe they give me some free bourbon. I wouldn't have to pay for it because bourbon is not cheap. All right. So Uncle Dave here, we're going to pour this right into the glass, and you can see it's pretty full right there. Oh my goodness, you all are taking care of me. Rick, the Texas Cruiser, you are next, and I have a treat lined up right here for Zoe. Thank you so much. Cruise Life TV, thank you for the thing about the Mother's Day. Tim G. Admin Tim. He says, add to Rick's, then you and Zoe get a treat. Okay. And I'm going to get more wasted, right? All right. So 31, because it's admin Tim, we are going to take that advice. And so I got the treat here. All right. And then we got the Merry Mixer, our favorite baker, Miss Angie. And she has got treats for Zoe and also treats for me. And just like that, we are up to 50 already. All right. We are rolling. Okay. And let me set a second treat aside for that. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. You all are awesome. And cheers. And let me take a sip of my first drink here. And before I forget, let me get that shot. And that way we'll have one of each. And then I'll go back to the old fashioned for Angie's when Zoe, look at that. I said Joey. I'm already starting to mess up and I've had one shot. All right. So Rick and Tim combo deal here. Thank you, gentlemen. And that is the Four Roses small batch. It's a pretty good one. All right, and we got Chris Moss in the house. What's going on, Chris? Okay, so the fighting. Let's get to that. Carnival has the worst reputation, I think. I don't know if anybody would disagree with that statement, at least when it comes to fighting on ships. Why is this? Well, one of the more common theories I've heard is price. And when you offer a lower price, you're going to get, I don't know, it's been used and termed like not as educated, not as, I don't know, couth, whatever. But you're not gonna get the best of the best. I guess they say, and that's not to say if you got money that you're some great person and you're not the type that's getting in fights or anything like that. I think it's just percentage wise and, the number of people and things like that. And it's going to potentially draw more people that, might be more susceptible. I don't know if there's anything that Carnival is doing. I certainly don't think there's anything that they're doing that's leading to more fights on their ships than other cruises. I really think, I mean, if you go down to it and you're going to look at more of the cost base, and I think that's probably the number one thing that you can point out. If you know, you think about it at stores, for example, if you go into a store where the prices are very cheap, you're going to get, more people on a budget. And, I mean, they call, I've heard the term Carnival is the Walmart of the seas or whatever. I go to Walmart. I don't have a problem with it. I mean, I think you can find some good deals in Walmart and everything else like that. But the truth be told, there's, you know, more people, I guess, in Walmart that you might raise an eyebrow to. They're saying and doing some different things that you might not see in a more upscale, type of like you're going to see, I guess, a little bit more riffraff or whatever in Walmart than you will in, say, like a Whole Foods or a Trader Joe's or something, where the prices are a little bit more expensive and you're buying a little bit more, I don't know, refined taste or whatever. And that's just the way it is, when you have a lower price. So I feel like I'm walking on sketchy or thin ice so I'm trying to choose my words carefully so I'm not saying anything that will offend anybody. But I hope you all see where I'm going with this, or you understand, or feel the same. Let me take a break just for a second, because we got Rick and Tim. This was the treat for Zoe. So high five for Rick and Tim. And look at that. She said thank you already. She's getting good on those thank yous. And Angie, we still got this one for you here. So, yeah. Okay. So the thing that I was saying that Carnival did that I kind of was like, you're just, the Celebration Key thing they got criticized for because your drink package doesn't work on Celebration Key and Royal. It does on Coco K. And I'm like, you know what? That sounds like a money grab, whatever. And then they followed that up with, this is the thing I was talking about, that they're going to ban you if you bring alcohol on the ship, like if you try to smuggle it in. And at first I thought, what's the harm? I mean, what's the big deal? Is it really that big a deal? Like, you got to ban somebody for bringing alcohol? But then this fight came out and I thought about it, and I'm like, if you're on a budget and you don't want to buy the Cheers package, why don't you want to buy the Cheers package? Because it's expensive. If you go on a 7-day cruise, it's over $1,000 for a couple. So if you're somebody on a budget, and think about it, you're already going for the cheapest cruise package you can find, which is usually going to end up being Carnival. And then you figure like, oh, hey, I can further cut my costs by smuggling on alcohol and just drinking all my drinks with the smuggled on alcohol. And then what type of person are you might, attract that way? You're going to, attract somebody that might, I'm not saying, anybody that smuggles on alcohol by any means is going to end up being a person getting in a fight. But I think if you were going to pick like, okay, this person has got reservations in all the upscale restaurants and, has the Cheers package and bought these nice excursions and everything. This person, is just going on their first cruise or their second cruise with Carnival. They've smuggled on, 2 handles worth of vodka and bourbon or something like that they're going to be drinking, like a fish rather than paying for drinks, anything like that. They've smuggled on gummies. They've smuggled on weed. Who's more likely to get into a fight? I think almost everybody would say, it's the person that's smuggling all this booze in. And I really think more than Carnival going after a money grab, but that will save them money because more people are going to be buying alcohol, obviously. And by banning those people meaning the ones that are smuggling the alcohol in, that's smuggling the weed and everything, you're getting rid of potential for fighting. And I really think that that's, if I had to offer a theory to it, I think the carnival beards got together and that's what they came up with. And they just said, hey, you know what? We're tired of this fighting going on. And, what's one way we can minimize the fighting, even if it's just a little bit more? What's something we can do? And I think they came up with the conclusion that maybe if we ban alcohol, or say that we'll ban people smuggling alcohol on, maybe that will lead to less fighting on ships. And obviously, probably 98% of people that have smuggled alcohol on cruise ships have not gotten into fights, probably 99%. But, I would say a higher percentage of people that are smuggling on stuff that already are knowingly breaking the rules. If somebody's knowingly breaking the rules, are they not also more likely to break a rule, like getting into fighting or something? I think that's just kind of common sense. And as I'm talking about this, like I'm feeling, like I say, I'm not feeling 100% comfortable. I feel like I'm talking about a touchy subject here, and I'm not necessarily feeling, okay about it. So I'm going to read through the comments, but before I do, I am going to get Angie's drink here, and I'm going to go back to the old fashioned, because my old fashioned cup could use a top off here. And now we got some color in there, and that is a nice full drink with my ice. And what do we have? This for Angie. High five for Angie. High five. Stop looking at the trees. What do you say? There you go. She says thank you, Angie, and I say thank you once again. Okay. All right. We got a lot of comments on this, and I'm glad, because I was feeling a little uncomfortable talking about that, because it's a difficult topic, and many people can get upset about it, and that type of thing. So Cruise Life TV, 100% Coach, Texas Cruiser made a video about it. Carnival Cruise Addicts, thank you so much. They just shared my link to join Coach's membership. Mike has been on 3 cruises, hasn't experienced a fight yet. And that's something else. Okay. We talk about these fights and we see these videos of fighting. And unfortunately, a lot of times it's Carnival. And I know many of us are Carnival cruisers. I would say probably 9 out of 10 cruises, probably more than that. It's probably like 9. I don't know. Maybe might even be higher. It might be like 39 out of 40 cruises without a fight. Think about how few videos you see in relation to how many cruises are going on each week. So Carnival's got a fleet of about 26 ships or something, right? So are we seeing 26? If we were to see 26 different videos a week, that would mean one fight per ship per week. But the reality is we see a video, that's bad, probably once every few weeks or so, right? And so over the span of that time, there's probably, it might even be like 1 in 100 or 1 in 50 or something like that. Sure, there's probably some fights that there isn't video of, but the percentage is very, very, very small. But when it happens, it just makes it seem so much worse, like it's such a major problem, when in reality, it's not that big of a problem. Okay. Michelle says, I'm betting the fights are more frequent on the shorter cruises. Michelle, I agree with that completely. Reason being is alcohol. People are going on the shorter cruises. It's 3, 4, 5 days, and hey, we're going to party. The Cheers package purchases by percentage of people on those ships is higher. That's why they originally had those as a higher price, and then they just changed it to all across the board the same price. But originally they were higher prices because they wanted to deter people from fighting because of alcohol. Tim has not experienced a fight in 15 cruises. I've seen one, like I haven't actually seen one. I saw, the end of one where not the actual swinging or anything like that, but to where people were still talking and jawing right after it happened. Angie says this is a delicate subject to come on, just a lack of self control and moral compass. I agree. Carnival Cruise Addicts, we've been on over 60 Carnival Cruises, no fights. I just think people be people no matter where they are. Yeah. Michelle. Yeah. And so many of you, and I'm thankful so many of you have not had to witness this, and seen fights. Texas Cruiser, the stats do show that shorter cruises do have more conflicts. Utopia of the Seas has that problem. Cruise Life TV, there's always a few bad apples in the bunch. Najuma Brown is saying hello to everybody. Najuma, hello. Hope you're doing well. Lisa says ignorance comes in all shapes, sizes, colors, and economical backgrounds. That I agree with. I do. You can be the richest person in the world and be very ignorant. I think there's proof of that in the world for sure. Trisha and Bert, 17 cruises. We have never encountered a fight. Only once had a really drunk guy. We had to call security because he was touching girls. They put him to bed. Yeah, we've seen a little bit of that. Angie, not going to lie. I've taken alcohol on a cruise, not because I can't afford it, but because they didn't serve what I wanted to drink all week. And you know what? That's a good point. And that gets back to my point. I think most people that have smuggled on alcohol, and I did it early on when I was cruising, I purchased the Cheers package all the time now. And there's been times I've purchased the Cheers package and still brought some of my own stuff on. Sometimes it was just out of convenience. Like, if I didn't want to, leave the room or whatever, and I had just a little stash of my own, and I had a Coke Zero or something, and rather than go out to a bar or whatever, I just have it right there. A couple other times, and I've been on like 60 cruises, but if I go out of Texas, for example, they don't serve, they don't have that Cheers package available to you that first day. So, you're either paying full price, even though you purchased the Cheers package, or, whatever. So, yeah, I mean, I have done that. And, yeah, so I'll admit it. I did it in the past. I'm certainly not going to do it anymore because I'm not going to risk, obviously getting banned. But yeah, I would say, probably quite a few people have done it. And, because most of us follow the rules, most of us won't do it again because it's not worth the risk, right? I mean, you're just not going to do it. Texas Cruiser, a lot of us season cruiser not seeing many fights, if at all. It's due to us season cruisers sailing on 7+ day sailings. Yeah. And I agree with that. I mean, the longer you cruise for, days wise or whatever, it's less likely, because people are going on a longer extended vacation. It's not so much of a boom, 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 and you're turning around and, people are able to de-stress maybe a little bit more, and it's not as much of an issue. Bellows Creek Cruiser says, cheers to the cause. Roscoe says, Zoe smells good tonight. Okay. All right. So I tell you, that's one heck of a nose if they can smell Zoe. And I don't know if smelling Zoe from that far is a good thing, unless, yeah. But all right, Bellows Creek Cruiser, $15 super chat. That is 51 through 65, and we are getting super close to that. Zoe, come here. We have a dream stick that we are giving for Bellows Creek Cruiser. So high five for Bellows Creek Cruiser and Roscoe. And what do you say to them? She says thank you. And I say thank you too. And since I already got this out, we're going to go ahead and keep this old-fashioned rocking and rolling. And I'm going to have to start drinking the old-fashioned a little faster because it's still, well, it's kind of full there. About 3 shots in there. And like I said, that is 84 proof. So that's got some kick to it. Thank you for that. Bellows Creek Cruiser. Cruise Life TV says, I'm a happy drunk. Yeah. And you know what? That's a good point too. And that is true. Like some people, when they drink, they're fun, goofy, ha ha, whatever. I'm more of a happier drunk too. I'm certainly not mean, belligerent, whatever, but depending upon your genetic makeup or whatever, some people are, they get a little bit more upset. Not all the time, but it happens for sure. Trisha and Bert says, on Rick's point, maybe the longer the cruise, less issues. We've only taken you've only taken 1 3-day cruise. Yeah, I agree with that. Lisa says, maybe we should focus on people knowing where their children are first. A lot of these fights are unruly teenagers. And you know what? I'm glad you brought that up, Lisa, because that was one of the things I wrote down. That was another thing that Carnival did. If you remember not too long ago, I think it was only about a year ago. Time flies so fast anymore for me. It might have been 2 or 3 years ago by now. But they set a curfew for the Bebe kids. The Bebe kids, I think their curfew now is something like midnight, or maybe it's 1 a.m. 1 a.m. still seems too late, right? Maybe it's earlier than 1 a.m. But yeah, I mean, most of the kids, and we're talking, young teens and things like that, they don't need to be up at 1 a.m. So, they have a curfew. They have to be, but, they'd be up all parts of the night running through, hallways and beating on doors and doing all kinds of stuff. I'll be one of the first to admit I'm annoyed when I'm going up and down the stairs and there's a pack of them just sitting right there. And, they're inconvenienced because you want to go up or down the stairs. Like, really? Like, you're not supposed to be on the stairs in the first place. But, they look at you like you're the problem, So, I mean, yeah, I agree. There's, and don't get me wrong. I mean, there are some parents out there that are just kicking butt and just have some of the best kids. I was just telling my buddy that was watching the draft with me the other day. They got an amazing kid. And, I'm just in marvel sometimes at just how good some kids are, in relation to other kids. And that's not to say that, if somebody's kid is bad, it's not like the parent is not trying or whatever. I know that's not the case at all. It's just for whatever reason, some parents are lucky and they're blessed with kids that listen a little bit better than others. But yeah, so that's definitely something though. I do like that adults have more freedom on cruise ships and kids can go off and have their fun. But when they go off and have their fun, it shouldn't be at the expense of other cruisers. Their parents should have instilled in them, like, you're going to be respectful of everybody and act appropriately and do all those other things. And they should understand that there will be repercussions if they don't. And sometimes it seems like, parents are just letting them go and whatever, just stay away from me. And, I'm going to have my fun and I don't care what you do. That's what it seems like sometimes with how some of these kids act. So I agree. Texas Cruiser, Zoe is being sweet. She's a good girl. Eric from North Shore Traveler says, I'm with you, coach. Tired of seeing these fights. Yeah, I am too. Mike Anthony, thank you, sir. The Texas Cruiser, what are you drinking, Rick? Cheers. Says I'm making him jealous, so I'm gonna have another little sip for you here, Rick. Yeah, it definitely can be a home thing. That there was an old school term. I don't know how much it's used, but home training. if you don't have good home training. And again, I know that there's some parents out there working hard with their kids and their kids just won't listen for anything. But then there's some parents that aren't working that hard. And I feel like sometimes you go on a cruise and you see a kid act in a certain way and it's completely disrespectful. And you're like, this kid did not have a good upbringing in terms of, respecting your elders, respecting your peers and things like that. And I see it every day as a teacher. The difference between kids that are respectful and, you know, and it doesn't matter. Like I said, it doesn't matter culture, color, anything like that. It's a lot of it comes from home and the environment, and how respectful kids are. The first lesson, the most important lesson, comes at home, and sometimes they're not getting the lesson that they need. And yeah, I mean, when I have parent conferences and things like that as a teacher, most of the time, if I see a good kid coming in, I when I see their parents, I'm like, yep, makes sense. If I see a kid that is trouble, I would say about half the time, not all the time, because sometimes those parents are coming in, and you can see that they're they're flustered, they're frustrated, you can tell they're trying, and that's why I want to make that point. There are some parents out there that are really trying, and they're just not making the headway they want with their child. So trust me, there are some parents out there that are really trying, but they're not having success with their teens or whatever it may be. But the ones that are good kids, that's not by accident. That's coming from the home first and foremost. All right, I'm scrolling down here. A bunch of you are just saying hi to each other. Chris says, okay, so here is somebody. Most of you are saying you haven't seen any fights. Chris, my first cruise on Royal Caribbean, Allure of the Seas. There was a fight, ended in arrest and ambulance when we arrived in port. Not just a Carnival problem. And yes, it is definitely not just a Carnival problem. We've seen that highlighted multiple times. Carnival Cruise Addicts. We got Scott in the house at Controversial Cruising. I must have scrolled too fast through the name. And Aaron is asking a question. Wasn't it Royal where a man was beaten unconscious recently for asking a group of teens to stop jumping up and down on the elevator he was on? Felony charges were pressed, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I kind of remember that story, but I don't remember what ship it was on or anything. Oh, okay. Carnival Cruise Addicts right after there. Yes, it was. Yep. And Eric also is saying that that's correct. North Shore Travelers. And also last week, a guy tried to smuggle drugs from Mexico to U.S. on a Royal ship. And, like I know Rick, for example, he's loyal to Royal. And don't take this the wrong way, but since I guess you could say I'm loyal to Carnival because that's almost exclusively what I travel on. So this probably is not the right attitude to have, but I almost like hearing about problems on other cruise lines just because it makes me feel better about Carnival. Like, see, Carnival's not the only one. Carnival gets the worst rep, and in truth, they probably do have the most problems. Um, but it does happen on every other cruise line, even your more expensive cruise lines where people are paying more money, everything else. I don't know if it was Icon of the Seas or something. There was some big fight, on one of their biggest, newest ships and all this other stuff. So it happens everywhere. It's not just a Carnival issue. And Lisa here, I mean, a lot of us here are Carnival, 33 with Carnival, never seen a fight. And like I said, I'm over 50 with Carnival, and I've seen the aftermath of fights. So I have been on ships that did have a fight on them. I just haven't actually seen one happen. So I can't say that I've not been on a cruise that had a fight, because I have. I just haven't physically seen it myself, which is a good thing. Um, Lisa, what can we do as cruise lovers to prevent things like this from happening? And Lisa, I think that's Carnival's issue is they're trying, right? And like I said, that whole alcohol ban thing, or we were going to ban people that are smuggling alcohol on. I think that is another attempt by Carnival, even more than saving money, which is every business's bottom line, or making more money. It's going to serve two purposes. It's going to help them make more money, because people that might have even innocently smuggled on a little bit of extra booze or whatever, that obviously wouldn't be a problem, or the people that are just like, hey, I I'm don't have much money or whatever, so I'm going to smuggle all this vodka, all this booze, whatever. I'm just going to be partying. I'm going to go in the club, whatever, smuggle on weed, whatever the case may be, and just act like it's their living room or something like that. And then that's when he potentially could get into some trouble, right? So they're trying to say, no, we're not going to let that person, whoever that person may be. And again, it's not any, it could be any race, any culture, any whatever, right? But we're not going to let that person, come on the ship. And if we don't let that person get on the ship, or we ban somebody that's trying to bring all that extra stuff on there, then maybe that will lead to less fights and things like what has occurred from occurring. So we got Yoli in the house, and I did not know Yoli because she was just on a cruise with me New Year's Eve, and she says, everybody always laughs when you say my name, and I'm like, what? How do I say it? And they're like, Yoli. And yeah, so I guess I do say her name like that. But Yoli, has Carnival stopped the option of ordering a bottle to be delivered to your cabin ahead of time? I do not think so. I think they were talking about it. I think they may have done it for like a second, and then they didn't. Check this out right here. Who else is going to be new today? Cheers to Michelle B., the ship wanderer, and big cheers, and take a sip for that. New member. And by the way, I see that little circle with the two little lines. That was supposed to be a little dog. Next week, it's probably going to be a little dog. I changed the icon. It was, a dog that moved around and stuff like that. And then I don't know, maybe because it moved around, YouTube said, "Oh no, it moves around. We can't allow that." So it should be a little dog next week for all the people. And then you see anybody that's a member, like Yoli's a member, her comments are in green. So yeah, that's a couple of little extra perks that you get. And Danny D, the spectacular supporter, I love all these comments. You all are the best. Look at that. We got $5 super stick. You can see the booze is getting to me. But we got our man Tony, who has made it 66 through 70, which means we are only 30 away. We're only 30 away from doing a shirt drawing today. Carnival Cruise Addicts, it's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are? Doing myself with that one. Who knows it? That's a good question. If people are saying that on cruise ships, it might make it a little less likely that they're blocking stairways and running down hallways, beating on doors. Angie says, I think it was 11 p.m. on Celebration. Well, that's good. 11 p.m. is a good time for kids to be out of the way and not causing trouble. Cruise Life TV, that was around the same time. Brian on Drugs commercial. Okay. I'm trying to see which comments are for me and which are for you all. Michelle B., the ship wanderer, our newest member. The kids never seem to get in my way except for that one that pushed all the buttons on the elevator, but I just had to laugh because we've all done it. Yeah, you know what? That's that's good. I mean, we can all be mildly annoyed by that. We got our man Ashley Davis, the Cruising Ducks, and he's also the admin of the Carnival Jubilee cruise page. So if those of you that do Cruising Ducks, my man Ashley here, he has the John Heald ducks right here. You see the John Heald duck that I have right here? That was my man Ashley. If anybody ever wanted one of these John Heald ducks, that's the guy you want to contact. Ashley Davis right there, that picture. Message Ashley, and you can order yourself up a John Heald duck. I want to say, and Ashley, I'm super sorry if I get this wrong, but I want to say they're like $10. I know that doesn't seem like a lot of money because it's a super big duck. It's a really cool duck. But look, and it looks like John Heald too. But it's even got the suspenders and the little ship and everything. So yeah, that is your John Heald duck. But you can get those from Ashley. Let's see. Rick, the Texas cruising, many years ago, I had to put up with a family in a neighboring cabin arguing all night. I had to call security a couple times before they finally settled down. Yeah, that's not good. Danny D, the spectacular supporter. I was just in your state, Coach, last Friday, yesterday. I had more time, I'd have reached out to you. I was in town for a sister-in-law's bridal shower. Oh, that would have been cool. Yeah, next time. Oh, okay. So Yoli wasn't able to purchase a bottle. That's not good. We got a lot of comments. Chris Moss, Coach, have a drink for me since I'm still at work. Track meet. Chris is a fellow teacher. And look at that. I'm almost done with the old fashioned. So, Chris, that means you are buying me an old fashioned, friend. And we are getting closer and closer. And I filled that up super full. See, that's the thing. Teachers that are coaches, we got long hours. And those track meets can last forever. Those of you that have had kids in track or been in track yourself, you know. Zoe, come here. Treat. All right. High five for Chris. High five. High five. Over here. I'm over here. What do you say? She says thank you. And thank you, Chris. And we are so close, so close. One more big super chat, and we will be there. Chris is numbers 71 through 85. So one more big super chat, and we will be there. Chris from Carnival Cruise Addicts. Costco has a premixed old fashioned. Have you tried it? Yes, I have. They have that Kirkland brand. And I did get that one. This one is the one people want, though. I'm telling you, that Kirkland brand is okay, but this tastes like a good old fashioned. This is Handy and Schiller signature cocktails, barreled old fashioned with Buffalo Trace. That's the one. And they did have this at Costco. That's where I first tried it. And now they've replaced it with the Kirkland brand. And yeah, so. All right. Well, look at that. Trisha and Bert, they said we cruise in 17 days on the Sunshine. Let's hope no fights or fires. And the generators, yeah, we don't want any of that. All right. So we're going to put Trisha and Bert. Oh, we are so close. We are 86 through 95 now. I think we're going to make it. I think we're going to have that shirt drawing tonight. Chris. Oh, yeah. Did I put? Yeah, I put that shot in there for Chris. And Trisha and Bert, let me, I'm going to set this right here because Zoe's still working on that last treat. So I will have that treat ready for Zoe. Carnival Cruise Addicts, and by law, Carnival Cruise Addicts have to say this because their name is Carnival Cruise Addicts. I don't care what people say about Carnival. We fell in love with Carnival, tried other lines, and still feel Carnival is our vibe. We are there to have fun, ignore the other BS. And Carnival Cruise Addicts, I am also a Carnival Cruise addict. And I'm not only a Carnival Cruise addict, but I'm a members only Carnival Cruise addict. So I couldn't agree with that statement more. I'm a big Carnival fan, and I am looking forward to venturing out to other cruise lines. But, I feel like Carnival will always be my favorite. I love the Alchemy Bar. Yeah, I mean, there's just, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see once we try out some other cruise lines. But I think I'm going to be in agreement with Carnival Cruise Addicts. Bellows Creek Cruisers, if young of the last generation were raised like most of us here, the world would be in a better state of mind. Peace. Yes. Amy is in the house. Say hi to Amy, everybody. Texas Cruiser, a couple cruises ago on a lure while we were waiting to disembark, the police came on board and chased a guy through the promenade. Woo! You need to take out your phone for that one, Rick. I would have shared that video. That sounds cool. That'd have been a fun video to watch. Let's see here. Ooh, fun. Michelle B. I was on 4 Leonard Skinner cruises on Carnival 2008, 2011. No fights, all short cruises too. Well, that's good. See, when everybody is there for a similar reason, I think that is the case. Michelle B. I was on 4 Leonard Skinner cruises. Yeah, there we go. Danny D says, ooh, the John Heel duck. Yeah. Oh, Ashley Davis. CruisingDucks.com. He shared the link there for everybody. If you would like a John Heel duck, and that ship is a Jubilee ship, as he's saying. Z is in the house. What up, Z? Z's Gaming and Home Theater Channel. Good to see you, Z. Hope you're doing well. Scott from Controversial Cruising. All right, look at that. We got Rick, the Texas Cruiser. And guess what? Rick has just gotten us, I should say, to 100. All right, so we have Michelle B. She was the only carryover from last week, 1 through 5. Uncle Dave, 6 through 20. Rick, the Texas Cruiser, 21 through 30. Edmund Tim, 31 through 35. Angie, the Merry Mixer, 36 through 50. Bellows Creek Cruiser, 51 through 65. Tony, 66 through 70. Chris Moss, 71 through 85. Trisha and Bert, 86 through 95. And Rick, 96 through 100. And Rick, I was thinking, you're due, okay? Like there's some people, it seems like it goes in streak where like Chris, for example, he's won like 2 or 3 shirts recently. Edmund Tim had a streak where he was winning all the time. It seems to go in streak, but Rick, I haven't called your name in a while. So you have a couple in here. You are 21 through 30 and 96 through 100. So this might be your time. We'll see. All right. Everybody can see there's nothing up there. Siri, give me a random number 1 through 100. 97. What did I call it? Did I call it? Did I call it? You were due, Rick. You were due. Rick is the winner. The number is 97. That last $5, he had 96 through 100. That last $5 super chat. I need to go buy a lotto ticket because I just called that. So like I feel like because Rick, he has been amazing, like every show it's like $5, $10, and he's been a great supporter. And I'm like, you know what? I don't remember getting Rick a shirt in a long, long, long time. And like you're due. That's what I say. And congratulations, Rick. You have earned that one. Many contributions, and I appreciate it. So congratulations to Rick, everybody. The Texas Cruisers, Carnival Cruise Addicts. Let's see. Probably because they were all high at Michelle B. Okay, we got some side conversations going on. I'm trying to pick out the ones that are for me. Lisa says I should do a group cruise with World America and Dr. E. I'm scared to try it by myself. My man, Andrew and Michelle from Funnelheads They are on a cruise right now, or maybe they just got off on World America. And I know Will G, if Will G is still here, he was just on the World America. And yeah, I totally want to check out some of these. Absolutely. Everybody congratulating Rick. Tricia and Bert says, thank you, Ashley Davis, for our John Heel duck. We love it. Yep. And a couple weeks ago, Ashley had provided me with a couple John Heel ducks. And I said, well, hey, I said, Ashley, if you send me just one duck, that duck's going to end up right there where you see my John Heel duck. But if you send me a couple, I can give one away as a prize or something like that. So Admin Tim got one, and Trisha and Bert got one because they were the winners of a super chat drawing, and they chose the duck. And Texas Cruiser is saying, I want a 2XL shirt. And you know what, Texas Cruiser, we can oblige you there. Let me know if you want the traditional shirt or if you want the new design, and then message me on Facebook Messenger with the address and everything, and we will send that your way. The John Heel duck is so cute. Okay. A couple other things I want to talk about. Okay. So I don't know how many of you saw this, but some girl posted, and many of you, because you all are the diehard, you're the diehard avid cruisers. We love cruising so much. And I see some of the same people coming back. And most of you that are coming back have been on so many cruises, just like myself. And we love it, right? We can't get enough. So we're on all these different cruise sites. We're seeing all these different cruise links. So I don't know how many of you saw this, but there was a lady, and I forget the cruise site that she was on, young woman, I should say. And she was proudly holding up a letter from Carnival saying she was banned for life. And she had a big smile on her face. Basically like, I got banned for life from Carnival. And she had a big smile on her face. And, most of the comments understandably were like, why would you be happy about that? It's like, if I got arrested for something, and then I'm bragging about how many times I've been arrested, it's like I would be embarrassed. Like if I was around, like people, and I wouldn't be like bragging, oh yeah, like I got arrested, like it's a good thing. Those are not the type of people that I want to be hanging out with. The people that are proud of being arrested. Now, there are some exceptions, because people have been arrested for standing up for good causes. That would be the exception that I'm thinking of. That's the one exception I can think of. If you're standing up for what you feel is right, and if you're doing a sit-in, or you're blocking the doorways to something you feel is a bad thing or something like that. If you're doing in your mind what you feel is in the best good of society or whatever, and that deems you breaking the law or whatever, and you get arrested for that, and there are people that have stood up for things like that and been arrested, that would be the exception, that I would think. But if you're getting arrested for, silly crimes and things like that, and you're bragging about it, and laughing about it and things like that, it's like, I wouldn't, I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm different. Like, I feel like everybody would be in agreement with this. Like, who is going to be like, oh yeah, I got arrested and it all happened. So this girl was showing off her paper, and like, I got banned from Carnival, no more cruising for me. And she just seemed to be happy as a peach about it, and posted it on social media. Like, honestly, I just shared with you, like, and Angie admitted it as well. I've been on over 50 cruises. Early on in my cruising, I did. I'll admit, I smuggled on a little bit of alcohol. And that's, before I started buying the Cheers package. As soon as I started buying the Cheers package, that pretty much ended. But early on, yeah, I did that. I'll, a little bit. I'll admit to that. But, now with the threat of being banned from cruising, like if I'm certainly, if I ever got banned from cruising, I wouldn't be all happy about it and showing off my paper. I mean, I doubt there could ever be a situation where I was proud to be banned from cruising. I would think I would have to do something pretty bad. So, yeah, Carnival Cruise Addicts. Yeah, I'm not the best every time. Tony says, I swear the COVID years really messed people up mentally. I wish we could just blame it on COVID, but I think people are just messed up in general. I'm going backwards now, but Angie said, again, lack of morality. Kimberly Lavelle is here. We got some new people joining late, or new people making comments at least. Hello, Kimberly. And we got Party on the Sea is checking in. Good to see you. All right. Okay. Okay, Eric from North Shore Travelers says, good night, coach and crew. Got to put the kids to bed. I respect that. Good to see you. And thanks for joining again, Eric, if you're still here. Michelle B, I smuggled a couple bottles on back in the day. Can't lie. All right, I appreciate it. Michelle Michelle is confessing as well. Whatever floats your boat is here. Says, hey, y'all. Adventures with Uncle Dave. I get a letter every cruise kicking me off until I book another. It's really disrespectful. I like that. I like that, Adventures with Uncle Dave. It's good, though, that you're able to get back on. So, that part is good. Carnival Cruise Addict says, we follow the rules until we accidentally pack a TV remote and bring it home. Yes, we stole a TV remote. You know what? I think John Heel posted something about that. I'm going to have to check out this Yakety Yak video from this cruise channel I like and see if they're banning people from Carnival ships for stealing TV remotes. It's almost bad as stealing a luggage mat maybe worse than stealing a luggage mat and having that go viral across Facebook. So, all right. Texas Cruiser, I have too much self-respect to mess with the rules. I love to cruise too much to break the rules. Yeah, I'm not doing anything that's going to get me in a position where Will G is still here. Will, I hadn't seen you in the comments much, so I wasn't sure you were still here. Will G, I just mentioned he's been on that World America ship too just recently. I posted a bunch of pictures. So if anybody wants a review of the World America and whether you feel like you should book a cruise on that, reach out to Will. He has the details for you. Fellows Creek Cruiser is asking Carnival Cruise Addicts, did the remote work at home? All right, we are over time, but I did write a few would you rathers that go along with the theme of the show. So for all of you, and somebody just posted, I don't know if it was Eric or somebody, but thank you whoever posted to hit the like button. If you haven't already hit the like button, if you could do that, I would super appreciate it. But going along with the theme of the show, would you rather be, okay, post in the comments here, would you rather be banned from cruising or banned from flying? Which would you rather be banned from? Banned from cruising or banned from flying? See, I know you're all avid cruisers, so this is a tough question for you all. Most people would say I'd rather be banned from cruising, but you all, that may not be the choice. And look at that. The first three, I'd rather be banned from flying. Cruise Life TV, banned from flying. Tim G says I'd rather be banned from flying. Look at that. Everybody's saying flying. Everybody's saying flying. So people is just like, you know what? I need to cruise, so I'm just going to have to drive all across the country to get to whatever cruise ships. Cruise Life TV says we live near 5 ports. Okay. Is anybody going to choose? Okay, yeah, and at least that was a tough question for Angie. She said, "Man, flying." But I mean, that basically restricts you to the continental US, and it makes it a super long drive. Like if you want to go to Alaska and you're on the West Coast or the East Coast, that's going to be rough. I mean, if you want to go to Europe, you're going to have to do a transatlantic. If you want to do Hawaii, you're going to have to get to the West Coast and then take a ship over. So it makes it difficult. Tony says 17 days until we're on the sunshine with Bert and Trisha. Very cool. Okay. So I figured that one would win. I figured cruising would win there, but I wasn't sure it was going to be a clean sweep like it was. All right. So this one's a little bit easier. This one's not going to hurt your soul so much. But would you rather be banned from pizza or banned from burgers? Which would you rather be banned from? If you had to be banned from something, which would you rather be banned from? Would it be banned from pizza or banned from burgers? You never get to eat a burger again, or you never get to eat pizza again. Okay, whatever floats your boat wants pizza. Michelle B wants pizza. Cruise Life TV wants a good burger. Okay, this one was not a clean sweep. Adventures with Uncle Dave wants a good pizza. Adele Sargent wants a good burger. Chris Moss wants a good burger. Carnival Cruise Addicts says, Danny, how are you allergic to pizza? Yoli wants a good burger. She'd rather be banned from pizza. That's a tough one for me, honestly. I didn't think about it myself. Pizza because it's not open all night. Well, no, Trisha, I'm asking which would you rather be banned from? Which would you rather be banned from? So if you're saying pizza, then you're saying you'd prefer burgers. Okay. The next one. This is a sport related one. We're going to see which allegiance of yours is stronger. We're going to see which allegiance of what sport is stronger. Would you rather be banned from watching football or would you rather be banned from watching baseball? If you were banned from watching one sport or the other, which sport would you prefer to be banned from? This is the one you'd be okay with not seeing. So list the one that you'd be okay with not seeing. Is it football or baseball? All right. So Angie is saying she'd rather be banned from football. Ken is saying I'd rather be banned from baseball. Carnival Cruise Addicts football, Tony baseball, Tim baseball, Trisha baseball, Texas Cruise. So it looks like football is the most popular sport. Danny D would rather be banned from football, so she's a baseball fan. Whatever floats your boat says I don't do sports, so either. Fair enough. Chris Moss said I'd rather be banned from baseball, so he's more of a football fan. Bella's Cruiser says go Braves and Cubs. That means they'd rather be banned from football. Michelle B, I can't choose. Ooh, too tough of a question. Lisa, I'd give up burgers. So yeah, they want to keep the pizza. I get it. Living in Chicago, I think I would have to give up the burgers too for pizza. Tim says depends if the Steelers are winning or losing. So Tim's a Steeler fan, and they still don't have a true quarterback. So I feel his pain because the Raiders, well, we're the Raiders, and yeah, we just whatever. Yes, go Cubs. Yoli says baseball, no brainer. They would give up baseball because Yoli's a big Steelers fan and an Oklahoma Sooners fan. So I know that to be true for Yoli. All right, let's do one more. I have a couple extra more. Let me try to find the best of these three. Okay, this one was tough for me. And let me think of what my answer was. Okay, this is for the drinkers out there, and specifically for the Carnival cruisers. And if it's Rick, if you're loyal to Royal or some other cruise line, whatever the best bar that you frequent, think of that particular bar. All right. And then make that the alchemy bar. So if you had to be banned from one, which would you rather be banned from? The alchemy bar or the main dining room? So you could never get a drink from the alchemy bar, or you could never eat in the main dining room. Again, if you had to be banned from one, which one would you choose to be banned from? The main dining room, you could still eat at the buffet. You could still eat at all the other specialty restaurants and, you know, other restaurants and food venues. You just couldn't eat in the main dining room. The alchemy bar, though, like I said, if you choose to be banned from the alchemy bar, you could eat in the main dining room and anywhere else you want to eat. So, all right. So which would you rather be banned from? Texas Cruiser says, I'd rather be banned from the main dining room. So they don't want to go to their favorite bar. Tony says main dining room. Adele Sargent says main dining room. They'd rather be banned. Forget about dinner. I want to go to my favorite bar. Carnival Cruise Addict says, I'd rather be banned from alchemy. Whatever floats your boat, banned from alchemy. Trisha and Bert, they say, I'd rather be banned from the main dining room. Michelle B. Look at this. Alchemy is holding up strong here. This one is more split. Amy says, I'd rather be banned from the main dining room. Tim says, I'd rather be banned from alchemy. Cruise Life TV says they'd rather be banned from the alchemy. We love our MDR. Fair enough. I mean, yeah, you got to eat. Texas Cruiser, I go to the specialty restaurants more today. That's a good reason. Adventures with Uncle Dave, banned from the main dining room. Too many other options. Chris Moss, rather be banned from the alchemy bar. Controversial Cruising, Scott, rather be banned from alchemy. Bellows Creek, I can eat elsewhere. There you go. So he's picking banned from the Yoli's wants to eat in the main dining room. Angie Brooks says, oh my God, I love the MDR for C-Day brunch. That's a shame because I'm not losing the alchemy. So Angie, best comment right there for this particular question. Yeah, she's not getting out of the main dining, or she's not leaving the alchemy. She's keeping her alchemy and leaving. Amy says, oh, wait, I like the MDR. I thought you just meant the bar decisions. Okay, so she's on the fence. Beauty and the Bum Travels is here. Food is way overrated. So MDR, they're saying, ban me from the MDR. I'm going to the alchemy. Michelle B., Bells Creek Cruiser never set foot in the MDR on his first cruise, but he was a regular at the Red Frog Pub. Okay, so I don't know if that means, well, the Red Frog Pub is different from the alchemy, but it sounds like, if you found your favorite bar, you would be more okay with being banned from the MDR. Okay, I tell you what, everybody, we are 13 minutes overtime. I want to thank all the super chatters, and I want to thank all the members, and our newest member, Michelle B. And if you haven't joined, we have at least 14 members. I think if it's a new member, it pops up on the screen there. But yeah, you can join and be a new member and get all those specific videos, members only. But Uncle Dave, Michelle B., Rick the Texas Cruiser, Admin Tim, Angie, the Merry Mixer, Bellows Creek Cruiser, Tony, Chris Moss, Trisha and Bert. And yeah, thank you, all of you, for those super chats. Thank you to all of our members. And yeah, I think that's it. We're 14 minutes overtime. So we'll see you all next week. And next week, when I do shots or a drink, it will be with the bourbon named after my mom. I don't think they intentionally named it after my mom, accidentally named it after my mom. But yeah, I got this bottle just to drink before Mother's Day next week. So I'll see you all next week, and I will crack that bottle open. All right, thanks, everybody. It was a fun show. Thank you for all the comments. It was a crazy amount of comments. Hit that like button on the way out if you haven't already hit it. Appreciate you all. Take care. Peace. And